Dale was the type of man that thought he could change the world.
Dale just had a common longing to help people rise up above where they were.
He was very smart, and I thought a brilliant person.
Here was a young man that was going somewhere quickly. You could always see he had a lot of entrepreneurial spirit about himself.
We officially started to talked about the business on our honeymoon in 1990. That's when we came up with the name, Delinda. At that time, he was a programmer, computer programmer, so of course it would be a computer-based business. That's what he loved to do. We had our first really big contract in 1998 with the state, and then he picked up a contract with the city of Birmingham.
I saw Dale in the Birmingham Business Journal and cut out his article, and it was a story that was run on him talking about how successful his business was. So I wrote him a little note, sent it in the mail, and before I could follow up with him, he actually made the call to set up the meeting. He told me what he wanted to do and kind of gave me the visions and asked me to go back and come up with a plan to protect him, his family, and the business.
And he wanted to make sure that at least his family would be provided for economically in the event something happened. And of course, we never thought at such a young age something would happen.
When I got up that morning, I remember he was sitting on his side of the bed.
He was actually up all night and didn't get to sleep, and he had chest pains.
I said, we got to go to the emergency room. I wanted to call paramedics, but he said, no, we're close enough to the emergency room. We can get there. He turned in to get out the car. He said, I think I can make it. And he stopped. As he stopped right in the door, and I said, Dale. And he didn't answer me. And when I called him the second time, that's when he came back, and his eyes were rolled back in his head. All I remember is running into the emergency room to try to get some help. They got out there and got him, but he never did regain consciousness. They never could get him back.
He passed away of a heart attack.
Later on, when I did get back home, it dawned on me to call Greg.
The first thing I did was got on the phone with the office manager, and everything started rolling. I needed to get some money in her hand and get it in her hands fast. The policy that they bought was considered key man because it was for the business, and it did exactly what it was supposed to do. It gave her enough cash to basically keep the company running until she get herself up to speed.
The company's very much alive and well, and it's got a couple of contracts going with the city of Birmingham, I know for a fact, and probably a few more that are looking out in the private sector. So she transitioned into the role of CEO, and I think she's done quite well.
We lost a visionary, a brilliant man, real people person, a real community-oriented person.
Dale's wife is okay, the company is running, the kids' college is taken care of, and they're okay for the rest of their lives.
Well, Lynchburg is not a large city. There's about 75,000 people here. And when you lose an employer that has, 30 or 40 employees from time to time, you're losing all that payroll. A city takes a real hit when something like that happens. Jimmy Brebner goes to the same church I go, Rivermont Presbyterian, and one day after Sunday school class, he said, George, let's have lunch one day and get to know each other better. And so we did. We struck up a client relationship. He wanted to do something extra special for his key employees because of the job they were doing for him. And so he bought what was called split dollar life insurance policies for them.
Business was excellent, early 80s, mid 80s. Even until, I'd say up until about 87, 88, we were just over capacity. We could not process enough, and I made the decision back in 87 to go ahead with the expansion into a larger plant, at the same time maintaining the older plant, thinking that, business would continue as strong as it was then.
Jimmy also got into textile processing, And his clients are mainly clothing manufacturers. And when NAFTA came along, his orders dropped severely because of when your customers are in trouble, you're in trouble as well.
We saw a lot of changes come into the market, and that's when things started to really put us in a bind.
Sharon called me one day and she said, "George, the other employees and I on whom you've written split dollar policies, Bob and Jerry, Bev, Ann and me, we met to formulate a plan on how we could possibly financially save Bonnie Bray. And first of all, I just want to know how much cash value is in those split dollar policies." I said, "Sharon, there's tens of thousands of dollars in those policies, but that's your retirement bonus. What are you thinking?" And she said, "We want to take the money out. We want to make payroll, pay off our suppliers, and retool and get this company going. There's enough equity in there to do it. There's no equity anywhere else at this time. Those policies can help."
Obviously, it really touched my heart to know that people who had given years of service were willing to give up their retirements, their security, for the good of the company.
I FedExed the request up to Mass Mutual, the life insurance company that the policies were written, and they FedExed the money back to Bonnie Bray. It was put into their checking account.
And it was incredible, the response. I mean, it was very quick. It wasn't, I think that the company couldn't have gone on longer without it, but it certainly made things, eased a lot of the pains very quickly and helped us over some hurdles that otherwise we would not have been able to overcome. I'm anxious to push forward with the new start that the insurance has provided. I've spent probably the last 9 months in Bonnie Bray focusing on those new markets, and we are just now seeing the fruits of that labor, so we look forward to that expanding.
Each of my clients is a bit like a novel, and it's so exciting because I get to read another chapter in the novel once, twice, 3 times a year, a new chapter in the novel. But the best part about this is that my client, who's the hero of the novel, I am allowed to help effect a happy ending to the story. And that's what makes this business so exciting and so interesting.
Lisa and I first met in college. We just kind of knew, and once we started going out, we really were never apart from that point on. A perfect weekend for us was, to get in on 5 o'clock, have dinner, and just play as hard as we could until the kids, fell asleep. Lisa and I first bought insurance right after we got married. It was just one of those things that I believed in, and so we just set up a couple of small whole life policies right after we got married as retirement, really, just to make sure that there was going to be something in case something happened, and then to have a little retirement set aside for us already. Mike and Beth and Lisa and I, we all knew each other back in school. When we decided to move to Atlanta, we just all came at the same time.
We decided to start our own business.
Was able to help not only them as individuals, but the company, and throughout the years,